I work for a company called Holman Professional Services, and Holman provides all kinds of services for mental health for addicted and homeless people.
Okay.
And under the umbrella of Holman, I take care of an outreach center called Changing Seasons, and it's like a day club, if you will,
Hmm.
and we get between 60 to 80 people a day. Can you imagine if we are not there? And we
Yes, absolutely.
provide all kinds of different services. If they need us to hook them up with Coleman, we will do that. If they just need to come and talk about issues, if they need an resume because they have an interview, we have a clothing store and we have little boutique called Dress for Success. So if they need some help, for a nice attire for the interview, we have computers, games, puzzles, books, coffee, some nice bakery from the food bank, and it's really a fun job. Of course, sometimes it's a little tough, especially when there's a dead end and I can't help the client for any simple reason.
Ah,
But
yes.
how elated I am when I'm coming home and happy that I was able to solve that problem.
Yes. Well, let me just say that um, anybody that deals in social work of any kind, I'm always partial to, because I know how difficult that work can be. Um, so thank you. So thank you for that. Just from the jump. Uh, as far as I would like to, I didn't realize you worked with homeless people. There's a ton of homeless people here in Chicago. A ton. It's a big city. They are everywhere. And now that it's warm out, uh, they're more apt to sleep on the streets in downtown Chicago. So, like I said, I work at a club. I'm usually leaving very late at night. Like today, I didn't leave work till 6 a.m. Just closing down everything. Um, and on my way home, it's so odd that we're having this conversation right now. Today, there was another gentleman from a club. He was passed out on the ground, but there was a homeless man helping him up, like really trying to assist him. And we walked him. And I'll be honest, it was late. I had been up for literally 24 straight hours, and
Well,
I saw the guy. And I knew the guy on the ground wasn't homeless. I knew he was just drunk. But the homeless guy realized, because I'm sure he had slept outside so many times. He was so focused on helping him get to his car, and we ended up getting him a taxi and everything like that. So hopefully his car is okay. But he was so willing to help and be a very caring and helpful person. So I guess when I went on my way home, I was thinking about that a lot. Like, how can a guy who has nothing be willing to give so much of his time and energy to helping someone? And there's a ton of stories like this, but there's also a lot of stories that go the opposite way. These people are literally struggling to survive here, and I can't really help them. I give change and things like that. What would you say to somebody like me who or anybody that's lived in Chicago for any amount of time? What would you say to regular citizens when dealing with homeless people or people who are just struggling in general?
well, I'll tell you, Jeremy. First of all, let me share with you this, and then I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
Several years ago, I thought of doing walk in homeless shoes night and spend the night in the street.
Mm,
And although the local police knew, the mayor was going to bring us breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning.
wow.
I was comfortable. I got my own chair. I had a blanket. I had a coat. And I want to tell you, in spite of that, by 2 or 3 in the morning, I was really struggling.
Yes.
I wanted to go back to bed so much. And of course, the commitment, I stayed. So it's not easy. It's really a tough thing. And I know some people choose to be homeless because they don't want to abide by the shelter rules. For example, there are shelters that if they stay there, they have to take certain religious classes, for example, or
Oh, okay.
so to
Yes.
them, you have first to impose on them your point of view. And the bottom line is that they are homeless. And I really don't believe that the United States of America should have any homeless people. And
Mm,
Chicago was big. I want to tell you, Lima is not that big, and there are many homeless people.
yes.
Back to your question, this is a stigma, of course. I have friends who will say, "Oh, Maha, you're working downtown and working with homeless and addicted people. Aren't you concerned?" I'm telling you, they are the best people ever. If
Mm,
I'm leaving and I have to walk in the parking lot a little later, one of them will walk me through to the car, and I feel so safe. They are people exactly like you and me. I have this question, and this is my answer on when some people will say, "How do your clients look like?" And I tell them they look exactly like you and me. They don't have a third eye, or
right, right.
the stigma is really, and I don't think people relate except if somebody from the family happens to have some financial issues or some mental issues. And again, with addiction and mental health, it is a chemical imbalance, Jeremy. It's
Mm,
exactly like if you have high blood pressure or diabetes, but people will get by and respect if you have diabetes, and they'll tell you make sure you eat the right food, take your meds,
yes.
exercise. But if you tell them I have depression, come on, get over it kind of thing, when
Yes.
the chemical imbalance and it needs exactly the same medical attention. And that's why I'm very proud of Coleman, because honestly, they provide so many different services for our clients. They have psychiatrists, doctors, pharmacists, a pharmacy, vocational help, housing, changing seasons, you name it, many different programs for fathers, for kids. I mean, really, I can't begin to tell you why I am so proud of the company that I'm working for. And back to the clients, you can't imagine. I wake up in the morning looking forward. I worked before with nonprofits, but that was the first time now for 6 years I'm working with mental health and addicted and homeless people. I wake up in the morning and I'm really looking forward to going to my job. And that's a satisfaction that not many people have.
Yes. Uh, Once again, people in social work just have bigger hearts than the rest of us. Uh, so once again, thank you for assisting these people. Um, I love what you said about when you said people ask you about what do these people look like, and you said that they look like you and me. And what that did for me was it took a face and it took a color off homelessness, which is something that we can get wrapped up in a lot of times because once again, you talk about identity politics, and it's easy to say, "Oh, that's not me," or "Oh, he doesn't look like me," so "Oh, that would never happen to me." Instead, it happened to another human being, and it kind of it makes in that way it makes homelessness very relatable to each individual.